right, cool. So everybody, today my guest is Aanghel, and Aanghel is a popular YouTuber with over 263,000 subscribers. He talks about self-improvement, but recently he actually converted, or I should better say reverted to Islam. He also hosts the Three Muslims podcast. So thank you so much for being here, Aanghel.
Hey, thank you for having me, brother.
For sure. Maybe you can talk to us about your journey, but not from the beginning of your life, but maybe before you became Muslim. Were you kind of religious, or were you an atheist, or kind of this new age guy? What was your kind of background
It was
before
it was
that?
a
Yeah.
mixture. It was a mixture, bro, because I was kind of raised with like a very loose form of Catholicism. Let me say it correctly because I didn't say it correctly in my video. Catholicism. Because my mom is Catholic and my dad, he believes in God, but he doesn't really practice any kind of religion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then my parents got divorced relatively young, so like I didn't really have my father there all the time. And plus, even if he was there, he wouldn't have established firm grounds as to like, hey, this is what you believe, or this is what we believe. This is why we believe this.
Let me ask
This
you a
is why
question.
we,
Do you
yeah.
think parents should do that to their kids, or do you think
Oh,
that it shouldn't be a part of your upbringing?
I feel like it's super necessary. I feel like the parent needs to be the one who guides the child, and it's not in an authoritative way where you're just telling them like a dictator, like, no, you're doing this because I said so. It's more like, hey, this is why we do this, and this is why everyone does this over here. Like show them. Like that's what my sister has done for her daughters, and it's done wonders where it's like she shows them why they do what they do and they accept it versus only doing it because the parents saying it and then later on rebelling. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. So you
Yeah,
were
man.
Catholic, right? But not really practicing, not really even
Yeah.
Catholic, because I was the same thing. My dad left and my mom and I was like Catholic, but nothing. It wasn't
Yes.
real, the real.
Exactly. So that continued for a while. Then my mom met this guy who was a Christian, but he was pretty crooked as an individual because he's the one that abused me throughout my entire childhood. And my guy, like this guy used to preach everything about God, about the Bible, about Christianity, and then he would just turn around and start beating me. So like to me, that created a huge disconnect in terms of religion, and then in terms of God, and in terms of everything else, the whole spiritual aspect. So that kind of led me to be atheist for a long time. And then a whole bunch of other things also happened that made me be atheist for a long time. And bro, I'll be 100% honest, man. I was the most depressed that I've ever been in my life when I was atheist.
Yeah, I wanted to ask
Like,
you, how did it make you feel? Because I remember I lived for 15 years and as a complete atheist, I was like ridiculing every religion. So what were you feeling in those years? Like what was your like, you have no God concept, nothing. So
yeah, it was a lot of inferiority issues. I felt inferior and I felt a slave to not only my emotions but to my thoughts. Like whatever was going on in my head, I felt like I was a slave to these things, and it really sucks, man. It really sucks because like you don't have that spiritual sense, that awakening, or just that realization or the understanding, the intuition, where it's like you start to see things on a bigger scale. So it's like you can only see things that have already been clear cut and like proven, or it's like it's right in front of your face. Like I can see this, I can touch it, I can feel it, I can prove it. You know what I mean?
mhm. Yeah.
And yeah, dude, it was always trying to go with everything that was just like clear cut. And I
So
was like,
like
well, no.
self improvement stuff like no fap and uh, you know deep breathing by Wim Hof and all these things you were trying to do, right?
Bro, that was later.
Later,
That
okay.
was later, bro, because I was in this like lost atheistic, hedonistic as well. Not just atheistic, but hedonistic, where it's like I was a slave to my emotions and my thoughts, but I was also a slave to my desires, where it's like I didn't feel anything, so I was trying to make myself feel something by doing all these drugs, partying all the time, having sex, watching pornography all the time, doing all these things to try to get away from this like empty feeling that I felt. It was crazy, bro. It was crazy. And just like you, bro, I would ridicule people who ever spoke about spirituality or religion. I'm like, bro, you're out of your mind, man. Like you're ridiculous, bro.
Yeah.
And man, like I got to a point where I remember I was with this girl and I started to have they call it PIED, which means porn induced erectile dysfunction.
Hmm.
And it's like imagine that. Imagine you're with your girl and you can't get it up. And it's like, bro, you're going to the gym, you're eating good, like, bro, your health is on point, like out of this world, but for some reason you can't get it up. So it's like you start to like think and start to research, and that's when I found out pornography is an issue. And at the time, bro, I was watching pornography every single day, multiple times a day. Even if I was with my woman, having sexual relations with her, I was still watching
Hmm.
pornography. I was still doing these things, man. And to shorten it, yeah, I don't want to get too caught up in the sauce and the details. Um,
Actually,
that li-
pornography, I think, decreases your faith. It's been scientifically proven that people who watch porn a lot, it actually decreases your iman. The more you're exposed to these kind of things. And I've been there. I've done all these things as you're talking about. I know how it makes you feel. And it's more addictive than heroin, actually, pornography.
yeah, yeah,
So it's pretty crazy that it's like
mashallah,
just everywhere, you know.
mashallah. Yeah, bro, it's when you watch pornography, it has like this huge effect on your dopamine, and then the dopamine makes you just less sensitive to everything. It desensitizes you to life. And bro, if you're desensitized to life, imagine you walking outside and there's a butterfly flying, but you don't even notice the butterfly. If you can't notice the butterfly, how can you notice God, bro? How can you
Yeah.
experience anything beyond your five senses in terms of like pleasure and all that stuff?
Also, like, you look at people differently, especially women, you know, like, because you get into some weird stuff online, then it
Yeah,
doesn't get better when you don't just watch normal porn after a while, you know. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
pretty sick, you know. And that's kind of the progression. So yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
glad I'm not there, but it's not.
Yeah, man. I've had a lot of guys come to me and they were watching homosexual stuff, but they weren't homosexual, and they were like having this conflicting things going on in their head. They were almost suicidal to a point,
Mm,
and it's all because porn had led them down this path. But the moment they quit, all of that stuff went away. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy that one little thing can destroy your life in such a manner,
yeah,
right? But
yeah, exactly.
continuing with the story here on like how I came to Islam, right? So I started realizing I had this issue, and then I was like, okay, no fap is actually where it's at. So I started doing no fap just with the intent of like trying to get rid of this issue. Then I started the YouTube channel, and I just started progress or documenting my progress. And then somewhere along the line, I was like, I'm getting better. Not only am I getting better in terms of the issue that I had, but I'm also getting better in all these other aspects of my life. And that's why I came on to self-improvement. And that's when I started meditating and I started doing more. And I was like, oh, there's more, and then like the more I got into meditation, I started having this awakening where it's like, hmm, maybe there is more to life than what's seen and what's documented already, like in terms of science and all that. I was like, maybe there's more, because like I'm experiencing things that I can't really explain, So maybe there's more. And then from there, I was with this other girl. She was very Christian. So I got deep into Christianity. But it's just like there were a lot of things in Christianity that just kind of just contradicted themselves. And it's like they would say one thing, like a very clear example here is they say to worship God. All right, that you don't give partners to God. Like there's only one God. But then they're saying that Jesus is God. And then they're saying that the Holy Spirit is God and that it's the three, it's the Trinity. And I'm like, well, hold up, that doesn't make sense, because if you actually read deeper into the Bible, at no point does Jesus say he's God. And he even says that the Father is greater than I. So if the Father is greater than him, then how can they all be the same thing? And like bro, it was things like that that just kept throwing me off. And her and I had broke up. So when her and I broke up, I kind of went away from Christianity. I still believed in God, still was on that spiritual path. And I forgot to add here, I always forget to add this, but before I got to the Christianity, I was on that New Age wave. And bro, like, I don't even want to talk about that, because that was just the most ridiculous thing in this world, bro.
So for people who don't know New Age, what do you mean by that? Like DMT trips and like fitness, or what is New Age, you know?
Okay, so New Age is basically you're dipping your toes into spirituality and religion, but you don't want to jump in all the way.
Yeah.
You don't want to like say that you are fully in it. You don't want to like say, well, I'm Christian. Well, I'm a Muslim. You know, like
Yeah,
you don't
it's like
want
these
to.
motivational speakers, they do this a lot, or spiritual kind of
Exactly.
things without any
Exactly. So
concept, just like.
yeah. So with the New Age, I was like dabbling in meditation, dabbling in yoga, dabbling in Buddhism, and dabbling in Hinduism. And it's like the more I did this, I didn't have any firm rooting in any of it. It was just more like I would speak nonsense. I had no clear like, oh, this is where I'm getting this from. I was just literally pulling it out my ass the entire time. And most people that were listening and they were loving it, they were also in that same place where they weren't fully in to whatever it is. They were just starting, which is cool, but it is what it is, you know. I feel like New Age is a transition period.
Yeah. Yeah, I
But
think
I went.
like, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, bro.
No, I was just saying that a lot of people are on this self-improvement path. Like me, just in 1 year, I lost like, I don't know, 40 pounds. I made a lot of money. I, started boxing and doing all this stuff. So it's like everything changed because of these self-improvement things and meditation and everything. But it kind of led me to what it led you to, I guess, because after a while, you're just like, you're still kind of like just lost, like looking
Yeah.
at like, what is this? Yes, I'm healthy. I have a good body now. I had made money or anything, but it's like, what's the point of all this, so then you start questioning these things, and I guess similar thing happened to you. But it's kind of scary, because when you like start realizing that this may be true, whatever faith you go into, but this time we talk about Islam, it made me, like, I actually posted a YouTube video like a dumbass, and I got so much hate comments. It was crazy. And
What
then
was it?
I became a Muslim, and then I left Islam, and I actually went on podcasts of these ex-Muslims. So they were interviewing me about my experience, but by becoming a Muslim for a couple of months, right? So I wasn't really practicing. I never did Shahada, none of these things, but I made a video about it. And after a few months, I realized, hold a minute, why did I leave? Why did I leave Islam? And all the reasons were just selfish reasons, because I didn't want to improve. I didn't want to stop drinking. I didn't want to, stop doing these things which are clearly prohibited. It was just my own kind of desires. So, but it took me a couple of months. So I went back and reread the Quran. But I mean, it's crazy. But you tell me your story.
Brother, I agree 100%. It's anytime someone leaves Islam, from what I have been seeing, is purely selfish and it's purely emotional. There are no like real reasons. And when someone tries to say like, oh, well, no, here's the reason why this and that, it's like, that's more so like you not digging even deeper and you not being able to fully grasp what is being said. It's only you taking it for face value. It's kind of like the part in the Quran where it speaks about and I'm gonna butcher this. So if I say anything wrong, it's on me. It's not on the Quran, it's not on Islam, but it says to kill the disbelievers when you see them. And then a lot of the ex-Muslims and a lot of people who are against Islam, they'll be like, what about this? This clearly shows that Islam is a very violent and aggressive religion, but it's like they're taking it out of context. They're just mining and getting, okay, well, this fits my perspective and my view, so let me plug this in. But if you read before that point and you read after that point, you'll understand that there were wars going on, and certain people, certain tribes in certain places, they had treaties. And if it says if they went against that treaty, all right, then you can go and do that.
Yeah.
But it's like, bro, the whole thing about Islam, from what I'm seeing, and again, this is just me, my perspective here. This is not me saying that this is 100% what is being said in Islam. Because, bro, I may be getting it wrong. I may be butchering it when I'm
No.
remembering it here. But the thing about Islam is it's a very real religion. It's all about peace. It's all about love, but it's real in the sense where it's like, hey, if someone is transgressing, if someone is doing you wrong and they're abusing you and oppressing you, well, then you have all the right in the world to defend yourself. And they say it's best for you to forgive, but you know what? If you have to do what you have to do, then go ahead and do what you got to do.
Yeah. Violence is permitted in Islam, but again, it's restricted to certain situations. And most of the verses that talk about it are the war, kind of referring to the Mecca and Medina battles. So
Yeah.
it's all in context. And if you just take it out, it sounds horrible, but you can't do that, So
Yeah,
I guess
man.
it's tough for people to understand that like violence isn't pretty natural. And the entire history of human beings was pretty violent, So I guess, but it's really a bad time to become a convert, because if you think about it nowadays, even true people who were born into Islam, they have problems. They can't rationalize these things with the modern kind of society. Like a lot of people are leaving Islam if they grow up with it, especially in Western countries where we are, because they can't, like, there are these Islamic laws, let's say, and then there's this like modern concept of society, and nobody explained it to them, I guess. So
Yeah.
that's why you really need to study. It's really deep. Like you really have to go
Yeah.
deep to the first principles. So it's pretty tough. So
Yeah, man.
tell me, what made you like say like, okay, this is it. I'm gonna accept this Islam thing.
Well, I was reading the Quran, or before I read the Quran, I was doing a dopamine detox. Have you heard of a dopamine detox?
Yeah, I have a video about it. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So you know about it. You know about it. You
I'm not
dabbled
good.
in it,
I'm not good at it.
but you understand the
Yeah.
concept. All right. So I was doing this dopamine detox, and the first time I did a dopamine detox, I felt pulled to read the Quran, but I didn't read it because I was thinking, oh, well, I'm doing a dopamine detox. I'm not gonna read. I'm not gonna watch any videos. I'm not gonna do any of this stuff.
Got the Quran right here.
Beautiful, bro. I got the Quran right here too, bro.
But yours is
Keep
in
it.
English, right? Or
Yeah,
yes?
English translation and transliteration.
Nice.
Yeah, so I felt pulled to read it. I didn't read it. And then the second time around that I did dopamine detox, I remember I was sitting in this room and I felt pulled to read it again. So I was like, all right, bro, let me read it. It's not that big of an issue. It can't do any harm on this dopamine detox. And bro, by the third day of me reading the Quran, I remember I was sitting down and meditating after reading it, just kind of reflect on what I had read. And bro, the third day, bro, I was sitting down reflecting on this, and then it's like something just clicked where it all made sense. And it's as if I took my shahada in that moment without realizing it, bro. And I felt all these waves just going through my body. And bro, that's a very subjective experience, because not everyone can say that they experienced that. But man, bro,
So it
I've
was just in
never
3 days. So you didn't really study Islam before. You just read the Quran. So this happened in
no,
3 days.
yeah, yeah. But
That's pretty crazy.
the difference here, and this is just me trying to look back and connect dots. This isn't me saying that this is 100% the truth, but like me looking back, I think the entire journey of like delving into the spirituality side of it is what allowed me to be able to fully accept and come to Islam within 3 days. Because anyone who doesn't have that spiritual side, who hasn't delved into that, they're only going to see the ritualistic side of Islam. But there's also the spiritual side. And then you were talking about how like there's an issue right now for people who are converting, or even the people who are born Muslim and they're just having issues and all this stuff with their imam, with praying, or where they live and stuff like that. I think it has to do with them not being showed the spiritual side of it and only being showed the ritualistic side of it. Because it's like, bro, you can learn how to do prayer. You can learn how to do salat. You know, you can learn all the movements. You can learn the recitation, and you can perform this. But if you do not have the spiritual connection, then you're essentially just going through the motions. You're not going to experience anything. You're not going to feel anything while you're performing the prayer.
Yeah.
But imagine you have that spiritual part on point. Now you perform the prayer. Now you perform salah. And bro, you were just 100% present while you're performing this prayer. Oh, bro, well then now you just bumped it into a whole nother territory.
You have
Now
to,
it's no longer salah.
yeah, you have to be humble to achieve that level, because you can't have this spirituality without being humble first. And most people are not there yet. And they need these rational reasons, which was the case for me, these Kalam cosmological arguments and all these things, because I was like, science is it. And that really led me to this thing. But I was also on this path. And for me, it wasn't Quran. For me, it was, I was always working out and listening to a couple of like YouTube Muslims, or a guy who was like really passionate about his speech. I'm not sure even what it was about. I think it was like, who is God or who is Allah? And I remember jogging, and in the middle of jogging, it just hit me like, oh my God, everything makes sense. And I just started looking at the grass, at people, and everything started to like fall. And this feeling similar to what you described, these waves, it was just like, did I just discover the true reality of the world, or what happened, you know? And I just couldn't, it never happened to me again, this feeling, because it's just one in, I don't know what's it called, but you know, it's just this kind of craziness. And then I was like, okay, this is the spirituality. I have the rationality. Now I just have to kind of figure out the rituals, you know?
Yeah, bro. It's man, subhanallah, bro. That's beautiful. It's
pretty crazy.
honestly, it's not that you're not gonna ever experience that again. It's just that you have to how do I say this, bro? Think of it like this. I think of it like this. Do you understand the concept of the ruh?
The soul, you mean?
The soul.
Yeah.
So do you understand that whole thing?
I have some understanding of it. You know, what it's, how it was created and stuff like that. Yeah. So
Okay,
I'm not,
so
but I'm not sure if people understand it. You know what you're referring to. So maybe you can give us some basic.
well, what do you understand it as?
So God created the ruh, or what do you call it? And then basically,
Let's just say the soul. The soul. Let's
the
keep it
soul,
simple.
yeah. Basically, the ruh is you. It's you. Basically, it's not you are not your physical body. You're not your ethnicity, where you
Okay.
live. Nothing. It's just your spirit. So that's you. That's when you die. This thing is still gonna be there, and then it probably goes somewhere. So I guess that's how I can explain it. But probably you have a better explanation.
Yeah. So Man, I'll explain this in the most simplest way that I can possibly explain it.
Hmm.
Okay, so you said it perfectly. The spirit, the soul, that's you. Okay, this body that we have is like, it's like a car, right? You get in the car and you can take the car wherever you want. You in the car, you need gas, you need electricity, you need all the things inside the car to be functioning perfectly. Just like in the body, you need energy. You need energy to keep the brain working, the heart pumping, and all the organs functioning. You need all the organs working in conjunction, bro, in synchronicity with each other in order to keep this body alive, to keep it turned on. But then you need a driver, because if you had that car turned on but no driver, you wouldn't be able to go anywhere unless you had a Tesla. But we're not talking about the Tesla, all right? We're talking about a simple car here. The body, bro, the body is just like this car, and the spirit is like the driver of the car. And what you experience right there when you experience whatever it is that you experience is basically you had very little, if none, or zero resistance. And what I mean by resistance is certain things that might be blocking you. So like if you're thinking too much, like let's say you can't stop thinking, like you're overthinking, that's resistance. That's blocking you, the soul, from being able to experience everything as it should be 100%. So in that little moment, bro, you had that brief moment of clarity, bro. And outside of Islam, I believe in Buddhism, they refer to this as I think it's called ayudenta, or bro, I can't believe it.
You mean
I'm
like the moment of enlightenment?
a
Would you
peak, a peak,
speak?
a peak of enlightenment, where you see just a glimpse of enlightenment. I don't know if it's isotory or something like that. I'd have to get back to you on that. But it that right there, that was a glimpse of this so-called enlightenment, bro. That was a glimpse of it. And keep in mind, bro, like I don't think anyone could ever be 100% um, in that enlightened state unless
Hmm.
they were no longer here, or unless they were a prophet.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know what
So
I mean?
so coming back to you, you accept Islam, you have this experience, and then from my experience, it's a lot of learning. Just it's basically like school. So I have a schedule. I run two companies, then I have another gig, and then I have to study Islam. So in nights, I studied whatever Quran or whatever else, and then just watched a lot of videos. So and it's never ending. There's so much to learn. I still
Yeah.
don't know a few things. So how do you go about this? Like, and then you come across something, and maybe do you have some doubts? How do you deal with that? You know?
Yeah. So this is something that you're doing for the rest of your life. So there's no like end goal here. You're not trying to learn everything that you can about Islam. I mean, if you want to, hey, more power to you, bro. But like
No,
it's even
that's what I'm
said,
used to. Like when I discover something new, like in business, I try to learn it quickly, but it's like this is not possible
yeah,
here.
yeah. So in Islam, they have like several different uh, routes, several different paths that you
Hmm.
can really dive into the studies. But it's said that like most people don't even fully master or finish that route, that path, that specific way of studying. Like some people specifically study the hadith.
Yeah.
Some people specifically study the Quran. Some people specifically study the life. Well, I guess the life of the Prophet Muhammad is the hadith, but
So I guess they moved to Medina, right? It just becomes kind of their identity. They are kind of the
uh,
student of knowledge at that point, right?
that I don't know. I do know like if someone is gonna, you know, immerse themselves in something, that they would do something like that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But in my opinion, bro, this is something that you're doing for the rest of your life. So you take it in baby steps, and I believe it's in one of the hadiths that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said to take it in baby steps, that Allah likes it more. Or
Hmm.
again, I'm butchering this. I'm definitely butchering this. So I don't like speaking on something that I don't know. But he definitely says something along the lines that Allah likes it more when someone does something even very small consistently versus doing something very big inconsistently.
Yeah, yeah. Especially like when you start implementing these things like charity. Like I try to do something every day, give somebody money. And yesterday I'm walking in the square. I'm like, man, I would like to give somebody like a couple of bucks. And I'm just looking, there's nobody. And this man comes up to me. He has no leg, he has no arm, and he's really like happy. And he's just, sir, do you have some, money? I'm like, yes, of course. And it was just like, man, this was just like an angel sent to me.
Uh-huh.
There was nobody here, just this guy. And he was so happy, even though he's in such a bad condition. And I was just like, man. And there's so many people who I try to help, but it's still very small scale. But it's really, and then you feel great, you feel awesome, afterwards.
Hmm.
And that's the charity. You have to do it
Yeah,
every
yeah.
day, small couple of bucks, but do it, keep it consistent. And it's pretty game changing, and then you get rid of all your vices, let's say.
Yeah,
But
I was gonna say too,
go ahead.
you don't always have to donate in terms of money. Like
Yeah,
charity could also be like a smile, could be an act of service to someone else. It could be you just giving someone some of your time, listening to what they have to say, like fully being 100% present with them.
yeah, it
You
makes
know what I
you
mean?
kind of a, because I had this thing that I'm not a good kind of guy. At least I thought about myself, like I'm very kind of I can get like nervous with people. And so this makes me kind of calm down and a little bit more present and grateful for these
Hmm.
things. Because otherwise I wouldn't do it, because I'm scared. You have the
Hmm.
fear of Allah in you, then you know it's not
Hmm.
going anywhere. You can't, where do you
Hmm.
go, where are you gonna run? Tell me that. So I was just wondering, what was the reaction from your friends or your family after you converted? And for me, I remember, just on the side note, I knew no Muslims, so I went to the mosque here in Prague. And first time I came here, I just remembered I had the second kind of epiphany. This feeling came over me. I was alone in the mosque. There was nobody there. I had to take off my shoes and kind of wash the foot. But it was the same
Well,
feeling I had like a few months when I was jogging, and I was like, man. So I suggest you you do it as well, because it's pretty cool if you go there for the
yeah.
first time.
So pause for a second. Let me finish answering the other question,
Yes,
and
I'm
then we'll get
sorry.
to this one for sure. No, you good. You good, bro. You good. You good. So again, baby steps. But when you're studying it, study something that you're really interested in it at that moment being. So like maybe you're really interested in the ruh. Start looking into that more. Maybe you're interested in uh, parts of Sufism. Now I'm not here advising people, hey, go be a Sufi. I'm just saying, like, look, every everything in Islam, like, there's something to be taken away from it. You decide what you're gonna do ultimately, but like, there's something to be taken away from everything. Even bro, even outside of Islam, other religions, other philosophies, like there are little things, there are pieces that we can take that will further help us in our journey. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So it's like, don't see it as like, okay, well, I have to study Islam and like, tonight I'm going to dedicate X amount of time. I'm going to read X amount of pages, but more so like, all right, I'm going to do a little bit today. What is it? What do I feel pulled to the most? Like, if I don't feel pulled to anything, all right, then it's cool. I'm just going to read some pages here of the Quran. Right? If I do feel pulled to something, then I'm going to spend a little bit more time looking into that instead. And then like we said, bro, it's very vast. There's so much. There is so much that like you will never become bored.
yeah,
And
I
as
agree.
far as like how do I handle things that I don't fully agree with, well, one, I haven't really. I think there's only been like one or two things that I've come across that like took me a while to accept. But I'm gonna read you this quote that I saw today. So give me 1 second here.
Sure, go ahead.
So this quote, it's I think it's by Miyamoto Musashi or Musushi. He says, "Truth is not what you want it to be. It is what it is, and you must bend to its power or live a lie."
That's pretty
And bro,
cool.
like, yeah, that hits me because it's like, man, like, at the end of the day, like, the truth is the truth. So, have you ever heard of hypergamy?
I've heard the word, but I haven't heard. I don't know what it
Hmm.
means.
Okay, how about let's make it a little bit more simple. Have you ever heard of the theory of gravity?
Sure.
Yeah. You've experienced gravity, have you not?
Every day, I guess.
Every day. So if you were to deny gravity, even though you're experiencing it, even though the truth is the truth, it is what it is, how would that put you? Like, in what state of mind would you be? In what state of being would you be if you were in constant denial of this truth that there is gravity? You tried to say, nah, it's not gravity, it's this, and that. But it's like, it's there, bro. Like, it's there. You can't run away from it.
Yeah, I guess denial is the state, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it.
And think about what happens in the state of denial. Like, think about people in your life that you've experienced throughout your entire life who have been in a state of denial. Look at how they act. Look at how they express themselves. Look at how they feel.
Yeah, miserable, I guess.
Exactly, bro. But yeah, it's in terms of accepting it is just self-reflecting on it. Self-reflecting on it. Because at first, your old set of beliefs, your old perspective may not be able to understand and fully grasp it. But if you just sit with it and you self-reflect, you'll start to make new connections, and you'll be able to not just look at it from this perspective, but now it's like, okay, now I can look at it from this perspective. And it's like, nah, oh, okay, that makes sense. It clicks, you know?
Mm-hmm. Good stuff.
Yeah,
So
man.
I think I was wondering about the reaction of your just family and friends. I don't know if how did you tell them that you became Muslim? What did they think about it?
Yeah, so what did you say before that? Because you had
Ooh.
said that, and then you were saying that you were like going into the mosque.
Oh yeah.
And
Well, it was that I didn't know any Muslims, and so I just went to the nearest mosque and kind of was there alone and experienced this kind of epiphany again, this feeling that I had before. Yeah. So I think that.
so what did you experience when you had the epiphany?
Uh, so I opened the door. There was nobody there, just a carpet, uh, and I wasn't expecting that. I thought there's gonna be like a lot of people. So I
Yeah.
was just alone there, kind of standing like an idiot. I didn't know what to do because it's the first time. Nobody's there with me. And then it's just weird. This kind of feeling like, man, I'm in like God's house, or I don't know, just this kind of crazy feeling. And I'm in the right place. Maybe like this was my first thought, like this is good, because I didn't have that in church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah,
Alhamdulillah. That's crazy, man.
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And it's crazy. Like I said, I haven't been to a mosque yet, so I don't know what it
Especially
feels like.
for men it's more obligatory than for women, right, to go to mosque, especially on Fridays, so tomorrow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's difficult with COVID, but still possible.
You're right. I should probably go tomorrow.
You
I
should
should
go,
probably
man.
go. Yeah.
I drive 1 hour to get there. It's like,
Really?
yeah, and it's at 1 p.m. It's middle of the day, but it's worth it. You should go for sure.
All right. All right. I'll try it out, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, but to answer your question, how did my friends and family
Yeah.
take it? At first they did not take it good. Like my mom, she was the first person that I told, and she started flipping out, saying that like, don't tell anyone that you're Muslim. Like I can't believe you're doing this. Like you're gonna be targeted and all this stuff. I was like, Mom, like, listen, I'm telling you this because I love you, and you know, like, I just want you to know what I'm doing. I'm not telling you this so I could have your blessing, or
Yeah.
so that like you accept me. I'm just letting you know. And like over time, she finally understood, and now she supports me in it. My dad, he seemed like he was supportive, but like he asked a lot of questions, which kind of showed that like he was just saying that he supported me, but really didn't support. But you know, as time progresses, they fall in line because once you start something new, like they got to see that you're into it first before they're like 100% on board with you.
Yeah.
And like it was the same thing with my friends. Like my friends didn't accept it, but then when they saw that I was serious about it, like this wasn't a joke. I wasn't messing around. They were like, okay, well, this is him. And to like just kind of like lay it out here, bro. Like that's how people see us. All right, people make this box and they put us into this box and they say, well, uh, Jan is a businessman. Jan is a nice person. Jan is this athletic guy. Jan is this humorous guy. Jan is this and that. Right. But then when you do something that's outside of this box, it's like, whoa, 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 Jan, what you doing, bro? Like this isn't you. This isn't you. And then it's hard for them to accept that you are no longer part of that box. All right. And then when you're no longer part of that box, they have two options. Either they stay in denial, which we already talked about what happens when you stay in denial, or two, they not only expand the box that you're in, but they expand their own box. Because when you start to grow, they also have to grow in order to stay with you. Because if they stay closed, if they stay in that same state of being that they were, well, they can't accept you for who you are now.
That's pretty deep.
Yeah, man.
Good stuff. Yeah, I guess for me, my grandmothers were immediately on board because they are like very old. And if you notice, like if you go to church, there's a lot of old people. Young people don't go to church because they are like very close to death. So they are very conscious of like, I'm not going to exist anymore. So this is my
Yeah.
last chance. And we don't think about it because, well, I think about it all the time, but generally people don't like to talk about it because, you know, uh, we're young, we have time, but you never know, you know. So
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah.
my experience that old people will accept this more than young.
How old are you, by the way?
29.
29. All right. So yeah, you are just a little bit older than me.
I'm an old
But
man.
that's nah, bro, not even. The way it is, man, is like younger people, we don't come to the truth until we're humbled.
Yeah. I mean, you really, did you have some near death experience in your life?
Oh, bro, a lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of them, yeah.
So tell me about it. Can you share one of them, which is like possible to share, or is it
Oh,
restricted?
okay, I'll share it, but like, what do you want to know about it? Like, in the sense of how it brought me closer to the creator, how it brought me closer to uh Islam.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, what was that, you know? But because, like, for me, it was a car accident, like a really huge car accident, and then I had a couple of other things going on. And if you experience something like that, it kind of changes your whole perspective, whether you're Muslim or not, about
Mm,
death. You know, you just try to like, you just start looking at people like a lot of people where I work, they invest in stocks and they are just talking about money. And it's just like so surface level. I'm just like, I
mm,
can't even talk about this because it bores me to death, you know,
mm,
like you guys are gonna die soon. Why are
mm.
you not doing anything about it, you know? So, but you can talk like that, obviously.
Yeah. So I think one of the big ones for me, uh, I was in this lake with a few of my friends, actually two of my friends, and we were on this jet ski. We were literally sandwiched on this jet ski, and we went to this little island on this lake, and we were doing things, we were drinking, we were smoking, and I remember a lot of things happened, man. A lot of signs were happening like right off the bat. And I didn't see them at first, or I saw them, but I didn't acknowledge them as signs. Right. But like, bro, the creator is perfect and the signs are everywhere. You just have to open your eyes to be able to see them. So like the moment we got into this lake, we got onto this jet ski and there were all these girls and my friend wanted to like stunt. He wanted to show off and flex for the women. So
Mm-hmm.
like he tried to like dip the jet ski to the side real quick. All of us fell off the jet ski. And then not only that, but he didn't have the clip that's attached to you to where when you fall off, it cuts the engine. So the
Mm-hmm.
jet ski doesn't keep going. Bro, he didn't have that clipped on. So when we all fell off, the jet ski kept going. And the jet ski started to go in like this a circular pattern here. And they were trying to swim after the jet ski. But then I saw, I was like, all right, the jet ski's going in a circle, is going to end up over here. I'm going to swim in this direction. So I swam, perfectly got to the jet ski. Sign number one. All right. Sign number two, we started going out. And like as we were going out, there were people like yelling, like, no, no, like go back, go back. We didn't listen to them. We just kept going. All right, sign number two. We get to the island and then we get off the jet ski, we're drinking, just chilling. And then this black moccasin. You know what a black moccasin is?
No.
A very venomous snake.
Okay.
All right. This snake just starts swimming, like slithering to us, like rapid, bro. I'm like, oh, bro, we
Damn.
all froze up because this snake was coming full speed towards us. And then from there, the snake just diverts off into a different direction. Sign number three, bro. Sign number three. And then even with that, we still didn't leave. Then like two of us would stay on the island. One of us would just go crazy on the jet ski, like going as fast as we could in the water. And then this storm started to come up. So like once the storm started coming, we're like, okay, maybe now we should leave. So we all get onto this jet ski and then we start to ride out. And as we're getting like close to the middle of the lake, and keep in mind, there's alligators in this lake. There's a lot of alligators in this lake. We get to the middle of the lake and the storm started up so bad that the winds were creating waves in the lake. That there's this wave that came and literally tipped the whole jet ski over to where it was upside down. Bro, the other two friends were trying to like lift the jet ski up out from underneath, like up, like flip it back over from underneath. And then like something inside me was like, okay, the jet ski, I need to put my weight down on this side in order for it to lift. So I put my weight down and then the jet ski flipped back over. We all got back onto the jet ski. Another wave came, flipped the jet ski over again, bro. So it's like we're over here tripping out and we all get back onto the jet ski. And as I'm getting back onto the jet ski, there was something that clicked inside of me that was like, this could be the end. This could be the end. And I accept it. Like I'm 100% all right with this being the end. I'm 100% all right with me dying right now if that's what's gonna happen. If it's time, it's time. And bro, as soon as like that clicked, I like jumped off the jet ski, looked at like where the waves were coming at, moved the jet ski to where the rear end of the jet ski was positioned in the direction that the waves were coming at so it wouldn't flip the jet ski. And bro, I stayed in the water, making sure that the jet ski wouldn't flip back over until they turned it back on. So I literally stayed in the water knowing that there were all these alligators in the water. Knowing also that there was amoeba there was high rates of amoeba occurring. You know what amoeba is?
No.
It's a flesh-eating, I want to say it's bacteria. It might not be bacteria, it might be something else, but it's a very microscopic thing that once it gets in you, it eats away at your brain and it kills you within a few weeks, bro.
That's crazy.
So like there were so many factors at play where it's like, I don't know, it created this like shift inside of me. And like, bro, ever since that day, like I don't think I've ever been the same. Cause like that really made me see how like temporary this life was and how like not only do we live as if we're gonna live forever, but we don't think about our death. And then when we do think about our death, we start getting nervous, and
Yeah.
we start getting anxious. And it's like, well,
It,
dude, if you can accept your death and you know you're gonna die, well, that makes you live life even more.
yeah, it makes you super depressed. Like when you start thinking about death as an atheist, it's like, man, this sucks. It's
Yeah,
really like it makes you super depressed. I had like a couple of months when I was like really, really, really down from just this thought, and oh my god, it's pretty
yeah.
crazy.
But bro, you want to know what's even more crazy?
Tell
As
me.
an atheist, right? When you're an atheist and you think about death, there's nothing after that. Once you die, that's it. It's done. So you get really scared. You get really anxious. You get really nervous about that. You can't accept it because you don't want to accept it. You don't
Mhm.
want to accept that there's nothing left after, right? But in Islam, they have this thing that we're all born with called the fitra, which is that innate belief, not only
Mhm.
in the creator, but also in the hereafter. The innate belief that like this isn't all that there is. And bro, I know everyone damn well in their mind at some point or another has thought to themselves like, yo, this can't be all that there is. Like there has to be something more. You know, and like bro, in that moment when I was in that lake and I had that experience, it's like my fitra kicked in. And not only did I accept death, but it's like a part of me knew that even if I were to die, that wasn't the end, that there was something else. And at that point, I was atheist. So look at
Mhm.
that, even atheist, I still had that innate belief. So when it's like you start looking into it more and more and you start to think about it, people who are atheists are in denial. They're trying to reject the truth where it's like, bro, there's no evidence that disproves God. So it's like you have the choice. You can either choose to believe or you can choose to not believe. And the people who are atheists are choosing not to believe out of their own accord.
Mhm.
It's crazy, bro.
Yeah. What do you think? This is something I think about sometimes. What do you think God actually wants from? I know He wants to worship, but what do you think? I mean, it's in. I can't even think about it. But like, what do you think He wants? Maybe like, does He have a
Mm.
need? I mean, He doesn't need us, but what do you think He's looking for? What's what's his day like? Like I'm just thinking about these things because I can't even imagine it. He's everlasting. He didn't begin. Well, why did he create us? In a sense, like how is it gonna help him? I'm just probably never gonna hear the answer to that until I die,
Yeah,
but it's just
yeah.
something I like to think about. What do you think?
You know, at the end of the day, bro, Allah knows best. God knows best. I don't think anyone in this world really knows the truth. Um, we could speculate, we could think about it, and if I were to think about it, I just keep coming back to the concept of this being a test. All right, because think about a creator. Not speaking about God here. Let's think about a creator, like an inventor who created a product. Let's say I created this gimbal right here. Okay, this is an
Mhm.
electronic gimbal. If I put my phone on this gimbal and I turn it on, it should work accordingly, right? But if it doesn't work accordingly, then either I'm gonna fix it or I'm gonna discard it, one or the other, right? And the thing from what I'm seeing is that throughout life, it's almost like we're not working efficiently. So what God is trying to do is essentially fix us to where we work the way we're meant to, where we get past this test, so to speak. And then what's to come after, bro? Who knows what's to come? You know, they speak about the hereafter, but who knows what's gonna happen in the hereafter? Who knows what the real purpose of this all? That's why I say Allah knows best. We don't know that. But this is my speculation where it's like in this life, we're being tested and Allah, the creator, is trying to fix us because he sends us guidance and he guides who he wills. If someone's not open to his guidance, then so be it, bro. He's not gonna forcefully make this person wake up. Because like he gave us free will for a reason. He gave us free will for a reason. And at the end of the test, well, if you didn't get fixed, if you didn't work functionally at the end, well, you're discarded. You're thrown in the trash. There's no use for you. And what's the use? I don't know. The tripod, the gimbal, you know what the use is for, but for us, I don't know what our use is. That's where it's like we could talk about this all day, but it's like the more you get into it, bro. I don't know if you've ever done psychedelics, but
No,
I've done
just weed and some other stuff.
Okay. So I don't know if you've had any experiences when you smoked weed in the past, but when
Yes.
I've done, okay. So let me explain these experiences, and you tell me if you've had something similar. All right. So I've done psychedelics where I've actually been so present that everything looked fake. You ever seen those TVs that are so high definition that when you're watching it, it's like this TV show is occurring or this Netflix show is happening, but it looks like you're watching them record it. Like it doesn't look real. Like you can't fully immerse yourself in it because it's so high definition. Bro, that's how I got when I was on psychedelics, where it's like I saw everything. I was like, this isn't real. Like this is all a simulation.
Yeah.
And bro, like even after that, bro, I would look up into the sky and I would see this like dome and these weird like lights like running across, bro. And I was like, this isn't real. I would look at my friends like, bro, this is a simulation.
You were tripping out.
And what's crazy is like even you go around and people who've taken psychedelics all report back the same thing, if not in the exact same way or in a very similar fashion.
Mm-hmm.
That's what blows my mind. And then when you read the Quran, it talks about the dunya and how this isn't it. This is not this isn't 100% it. Like this is just temporary. It's passing. It's a simulation. It's like the Matrix.
Yeah.
And here people are taking psychedelics and experiencing something that's already been written about in this book over 1400 years ago. That blows my mind, bro.
Yeah, me too. I love the concept of dunya.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I had a similar stuff when I was smoking a lot of weed for like every day for a couple of years. So sometimes I had these states where we were just talking like 5 people in the room. I was just like, what are we talking about? Why are we not solving the most important problem? We're all gonna die. Like this doesn't make any sense. And it was just clear to me, everything. It was just hitting us all. It's pretty strange stuff. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Bro, and I think I might be butchering this, but if I remember correctly, bro, even in quantum physics, they're starting to come across this idea that this is a simulation.
Yeah.
And then, bro, even what's more crazy, in quantum physics, they speak about alternate realities and how there's one reality occurring right now, but there could be thousands, if not millions, of other different alternate realities with you being present in this reality in a completely different space in the time continuum. And if you think about it, bro, like the creator has programmed everything from the beginning to the end, meaning that like, bro, whatever decision you make, that's what's gonna happen. It was already planned, it was already written. So it's like, bro, if I pick this up right here and I set this down, that was my decision. Bro, if I smack it and slam it on the ground, that was another one of my decisions. If I go and I sell this, that's another decision. And it's like, bro, there's so many decisions out here that every little decision we make alters our reality. But it's like, if we would have made just a slightly different decision, the reality would be completely different. The outcome will be completely different. It's like a video game where it's like, there's this person in front of you. You can help them or you can kill them. Which one are you going to do? Whichever one you choose is going to change how the game plays out, and it's going to change how the game ends. And that's how real life is, where it's like everything's already been written and everything's already been programmed. And that doesn't mean that You know, that, okay, well, if everything's been programmed, then we have no free will. That just means that we're just observing. The soul of the spirit is just going along for this ride, for this simulation, experiencing this video game, if you want to call it that. And it's like we have brief control, if any, but what we do have is the choice to make decisions. And the decisions that we make alters the reality of this experience, of this simulation, of this dunya.
Yeah. I guess you have infinite number of decisions you can make, and they've all been planned already. So they already are from the beginning to the end, and you just go through them, and it's up to you which one are you going to take. They all are planned already. So that's what the free will is. The decisions have already been done, but you can choose which one to go with. And my mind was blown when I looked at the concept of time in Quran. You know, it oftentimes talks about like, this is gonna happen on the day of judgment. I'm like, how do you know that this is gonna happen here? I'm like, did it already happen? And then he talks about it already happened. This is we already know this. The angels, we were here, like basically from their perspective, this whole thing doesn't have time. There's no time, so they already know what was the beginning, what was the end, and how it's gonna play out. And so they are just kind of going back through the prophets and, you know, telling us like, this is what's gonna happen, guys, do it. It already happened. So you don't have any choice. The time concept in Islam is pretty crazy about this. And so that blew my mind, like, man, I'm just doing something and I know how it's gonna end, and I know there's gonna be this day of judgment. I know these things are gonna happen. And it's just like, man, that humbles you.
Dude. Yeah, I don't know if it was Albert Einstein or Nikola Tesla, but one of them said that time is an illusion. It's a man-made construct. So it's like time helps us to, I guess, perceive and just kind of deal with the experience that we're experiencing here. But if we're speaking about alternate realities, about the past, the present, and future, like, bro, in alternate realities, time is irrelevant. Like there could be an alternate reality that's like 30 years in the future, but it's happening right now at the same time that this reality is happening. So it's like in the Quran, how it's saying like, oh, the angels, like, we've already experienced it. Like the day of judgment, it's already happened. But like here, now you know. It's like, bro, that's subhanAllah, bro. That's just, it blows my
And
mind, to
you know
be
what's
honest.
crazy? You know what's crazy? Do you know that every prophet has a one wish? Every prophet has one wish that he can say to Allah, and he will basically do it. Like Jesus wished for, I think, being taken back to him, and that's kind of how he, I think, saved himself from Quranic perspective. And what Muhammad, I hope I'm not butchering this, but basically,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look in.
as far as I've read about this, basically Muhammad is the only prophet who didn't use his kind of, not a wish, I would say an ask or something like that from Allah directly, even though they killed his family, even though he could have, you know, just stopped the overall misery of, you know, the war or something that he was caught up in. And he basically said that he's gonna keep this until the day of judgment. On the day of judgment, he's going to ask Allah for forgiveness for his entire ummah, because we will all be so sinned and so like this destroyed that we will all have to go behind him on the day of judgment. And then everybody who was a Muslim and who was doing wudu and everything, they will be basically like marks among us. So they will collect us behind his back and he will kind of protect us. So he was basically saying that he is going to use this on all the Muslims. And there's this hadith, I think, or something like that, that he's kind of crying about like my brothers. And I think the Sabah or somebody is asking him like, what do you mean, like which brothers? And he was saying like, they are not born yet. Like these are the future Muslims who I will guide on the day of judgment. Like this is my family. So just imagine just think about like how crazy is that he had this sort of mindset. You know, just like, I don't think I would be able to even like hold on to this wish, you know, for that long.
Yeah,
It's just
mashallah,
crazy.
bro.
And that's kind of the mercy. It's like this ultimate, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's man, it's
But I'm not sure. I
It's
hope I said
perfect.
it right, this story, but this is what I got.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, bro, like we're just having a convo here. This is nothing like 100% set in stone. So like if anyone is watching this,
Yeah, I'm sure there are Muslims
we
who've
suggest,
been studying for 20
yeah,
years and we're just new guys. So
yeah, we suggest to like do your own research because I'm definitely gonna like look into this after you said this. But
I'll send you a
it
video
it
if you want.
reminds me, yeah, send me it. It reminds me of what one of my brothers said, the one that I'm doing the podcast with,
Mhm.
Rami. He was speaking about the life of the prophet, and then he was speaking about Omar, um, and Hamza, peace be upon all of them. And man, like when he was referring to Omar and Hamza, like I could see myself in their position. Like I could be like, yeah, like I could see traits of myself in them. Like when we hear a story, we hear like certain characters, and like depending on like the traits of that character, we could see ourselves within that character, and that in a sense makes us understand the story even more, able to grasp it even more. And when he would say about the prophet, peace be upon him, bro, like I just couldn't grasp any of the traits. I couldn't see myself as like uh there's a word for it, as possessing any of these traits. So it's like subhanallah, bro. It just shows like how perfect this man was. And
Yeah,
like what you just
even
said, bro.
yeah, even the
What you just
companions.
said.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh my bad. I said what you just said, where it's like if it's true, if all prophets had one wish and like he chose not to use his wish, but then use it at the end to have Allah forgive the entire ummah of Muslims, like pro.
Well, the story is that we will actually try to find Adam on the day of judgment, and he will say, like, go away from me, I have my own problems. Every prophet will run to will basically say, I'm scared, because they all are scared. They are actually being judged the same way we are, even though they were promised, Jannah. But we will then go to Muhammad, and he's gonna do this thing. At least that's what I got it from. But even like the companions, basically, if you think about it, they only wanted Jannah, and the biggest difference between me and them is like I also want Jannah, but I also want dunya, right? And they didn't even have this mindset. They only wanted the Jannah. They didn't want any dunya. So I'll never reach that level, right? So it's pretty kind of crazy, that these people lived like so far, uh, you know, uh, thousands of years ago. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
man, bro. It's all amazing, bro. It's all amazing, and I just want to throw this in because like it was coming to me. It was coming in my head. I was thinking about this when you were talking. But something that threw me off about Christianity is they would talk about Jesus being God, and they
mhm.
would say all the miracles that Jesus performed, and it's like intuitively I knew like, well, Jesus performed those miracles because God allowed him to perform those miracles. And they like the people that I would talk to and tell them that, they were like, no, no, that's not true. That's not true. He's the only prophet. I'm like, hold up. Didn't Moses part the sea?
Yeah,
I'm like, would that not then make him God since he did that miracle? And it's like, oh, well, no, for Moses, they can understand that God was the one that allowed him to perform that miracle. But for Jesus, no, no. Jesus, he performed it all by himself.
yeah, yeah. That's crazy. But I really have to look into the concept of him coming back and going after the Antichrist. I haven't really delved into that deeply. I know
And me neither.
I know the basics, and I know it's gonna happen very soon. At least from what I've read about and how the entire world is. What do you think about, like, basically we live in a time, super modern liberal societies, and there's this opposite kind of Islamic societies, right, with completely different values. Do you think there's ever going to be a time where these sort of Islamic values actually are spread everywhere, or do you think basically, at least from what I understand, it's never going to happen. And it's actually at the end of the times, it's going to be like, this is going to be, even we will be large in number, it's going to be super, basically, what's the word I'm looking for? We'll be super oppressed, I think, in the thinking, like super judged by the modern society for the beliefs. So it's going to be, the things that are correct are actually looked upon as evil, and the things that are good, evil, will be actually promoted. And that's kind of the end times. What do you think about this kind of
Yeah.
evolvement of society over time?
Well, I agree with you. I do believe that this is the end times. Whether it's the start, whether it's the middle, like who knows? But like we're definitely here. Like it's already been written about. We're already experiencing it, and that's kind of crazy in and of itself. But I don't. Allah knows best as to what's gonna happen. But if I were to, subjectively say that, I don't think that the entire world is gonna come to Islam. I don't think the entire world is going to fully submit to the Creator and be a Muslim, you know. But what I do think is going to happen is a lot of people are going to wake up to the fact that there is a God, there is a Creator, and whether they'll be gathered or not, that's up to God and whatever way of worshiping and studying and trying to basically whatever path they take, because you have the path of Islam, you have the path of Christianity, you have the path of Buddhism, you have the path of Hinduism, all this stuff, whichever path they take, that's between them and the Creator. Like on the day of judgment, I'm not going to be the one that's like, no, you weren't a Muslim, you're not getting into Jannah. No, bro, like God is the one that's going to judge them. And like, I don't know how God's going to judge them. I don't know how God's going to judge me. So it's like that, I don't know, but I do know that like a lot of people are going to wake up to the fact that there is a God and that, hey, this is really temporary. We are going to die.
Yeah. Have you heard that the Day of Judgment is 50,000 years long?
I'm not.
And that people will be behaving like they are intoxicated, but they won't be. It will be the severity of that day that will hit them, and they'll be running away, and your mother and your father will run away from you. Everybody will leave you, and you'll be drowning in your own sweat, and the sun will be 1 mile above your head. So that's kind of the description. The first to judge will be Muslims.
That gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, the first to be judged will be Muslims, and then everybody else. So yeah,
that gives
I
me
really,
goosebumps.
I really like to study that concept. So it's pretty crazy if you think about it. Yeah.
Man, I kind of have this thought going in my head, like, what if the Day of Judgment is literally, like, obviously the Day of Judgment is the Day of Judgment, but what if the beginning of the Day of Judgment, like when they say that the trumpet will be blown,
Yeah.
like what if that trumpet that's being blown is the sound of like a state alarm, a state emergency alarm going off, because there's like basically a world war going on, and there's all these atomic bombs that have been launched, and like, bro, everyone is just running in panic because like, bro, an atomic bomb is about to hit and that's gonna be it. You have 30 seconds left, 1 minute left, 10 minutes left, bro. To you, it's gonna feel like the end of the world, bro. Everyone who you're close with is only gonna be thinking about themselves. They're gonna be going crazy, and it's like that would explain exactly what's said, where it's like everyone's gonna be as if they were drunk, and everyone's gonna go off like running around, like not like, bro, your friends, your family, everyone who's close to you, like, bro, they're going to only focus on themselves because they're in a panic because they know everything is about to end right there.
Yeah, I think
that would be insane.
I think the more insane version even is that basically, like, you have the expansion of the universe. Eventually, after some time, there will be no matter in the universe. Actually, I think, who's the guy who died, who was on a wheelchair? Stephen Hawking. He calculated the time when the universe will evaporate. It will be just nothingness. There will be 99.9% of the universe will have no matter. And basically, as I understand it from this perspective, until there's nothing in existence, nothing, no angels, nothing, no existence in this universe, in multiverse, in the second universe, whatever, then basically when everything is destroyed, Allah will call out, like, where are those kings or something like that? Where are the gangsters? Where are these people? And then he will brought us back through the trumpet, but the earth will look kind of different. Especially in Quran, they say, like, you're basically you have the mountains, they will be lowered, like everything will be on the ground. There will be, the sun will be a mile above your head, like everything will be different. And it's gonna probably happen when everybody's dead already. So I don't think people will live during that time. I think it's gonna be already, like, everybody's gonna die, then everything will kind of go into extinction, whether through sun exploding or what have you. And then basically you will not even think about it because you will be dead. And as they say in Quran, it's going to be like a sleep for you. So you'll wake up on the trumpet and you think it's like the next morning, but it's actually been like forever, At least that's what I got from it. Maybe, again, I am not a scholar. There's been people who studied just this thing for years, and I've butchered it for sure, but this is the simplest thing I'm giving you.
Man.
So you can get ready.
Now imagine that, right? Imagine that that is what's gonna happen. Where it's like the sun is gonna explode, and when it is in the process of exploding, it's basically gonna look as if it's getting closer and closer to the earth. And then, like, by the time it's like super, super close, like, that's it, bro. Like, the earth is done. Imagine that happens, like, before.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying? Like, like before what's expected, like, because everything is speculation.
Mm-hmm.
When someone is a scientist and they theorize, like, in 5 trillion years, the earth is going to basically die out, or the sun is going to explode. The star is going to I think it's called supernova.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna have a supernova, and boom, done. Everything, the whole solar system, done, gone. But it's like, what if something happens, and instead of trillion, it happens in 2 years?
Maybe. It's possible. It's possible, definitely. Do you know the 7 heavens, the concept of 7 heavens?
Yes.
Yeah.
To an extent.
And you know the kursi of Allah? What is that?
Isn't that a verse?
It's the chair of Allah, basically.
Okay.
So you know the comparison between that and the 7 heavens? Have you heard about this?
No. Enlighten me.
So basically 7 heavens can be actually a multiverse theory, where we're living the first heaven. There's the second heaven, where maybe the jinn is and other basically creatures who live here, but we just don't see them. And they are just in a different reality. This is also the concept of dark matter in the universe, that we can see the gravity of this energy in the universe, but it doesn't exist. Like, there's nothing there. It doesn't have matter, but we just feel the gravity of these objects. So what is this? So the universe doesn't have to be like a next universe next to us. It's maybe even with this universe, there's a second layer, third layer, fourth, fifth, seven. And each of them, I think there's 500 years worth of travel between them. And then basically above this all is the chair of Allah. And how they describe it, it's if you take off your finger, not your finger, the ring from your finger, and you put it in the Sahara desert, and then you zoom out. So the ring is all the 7 heavens, everything it has, all the universe, and basically the chair of Allah is the entire Sahara desert. So that's basically the comparison between just his chair and then the 7 heavens, and just one of the angels. I think the distance between his ear and his shoulder is 700 years of travel. Just this distance. So his head is in the upper, I think, 7th heaven, and his feet is somewhere else. And basically, it's pretty crazy description of the way it's stacked on top of each other. So I just wanted to share that with you.
That's crazy, man.
If you can even imagine those things, it's pretty insane.
Dude, I feel like you definitely have way more knowledge in Islam than I do.
No, it's just
I feel like you've studied more than I have, bro.
It's been a year, but I haven't, just a few of these things.
Mashallah, bro.
But it's, you know, just these things, they just kind of humble me, like, man,
Bro,
I think,
you
yeah,
wanna know a crazy theory that I have?
go ahead.
Okay, so you know how the Quran speaks about the jinn?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of this thing called astral projection?
Not really. I mean, I've heard the word, but
Okay, so astral projection, I do not advise it to anyone because a lot of bad things can happen. I know from experience. Um, it's basically an out of body experience that you invoke yourself. It can happen during an out of body or a traumatic event. Like, let's say you're about to crash,
mm-hmm,
and like as soon as you crash, like you have an out of body experience,
mm-hmm,
and then you come back into your body. There's that, but there's also the one that like you can invoke yourself, and when you invoke yourself, it's like you trying to force a fart, and then basically, you know, I don't want to say any bad words here, but you know what happens if you try to force a fart? All the doo doo comes out, bro. We'll leave it like that. We'll try to keep it PG-13. So when you force this out of body experience, this astral projection, you go into a different dimension, meaning that, like, okay, I think this is referred to as the fourth dimension,
mm-hmm.
and the astral realm is referred to as the fifth dimension, where it's you can see everything of this world, but you can also leave this world and go into different realms and different places, bro. And it's crazy because this is not like a subjective thing. Like many people have done this. And bro, there are things inside of the astral realm, and people refer to them as entities. And you know, some of them might be good, some of them might be bad, and it's like you usually know right off the bat when you're next to them, because when you're in the astral realm, it's a lot different than when you're in the physical. In the physical, there's a lot of resistance, there's a lot of like, it's physical, bro. Like there's so much that's stopping us from fully being able to experience and connect, that like you just meeting someone for the first time, if you really have like, if you're able to pierce through all the resistance, you're able to catch whether this person has like a good vibe or a bad vibe. You know what I'm saying? But if you're not aware of it, if you're not able to pierce through the resistance, you probably won't know if this person has a good vibe or a bad vibe. And that's something that you find out over time as they begin to um, reveal their true colors. Well, in the astral realm, there is no matter. You can go through a wall. So it's like,
Mm.
because of that, you can also feel something's intentions right off the bat. And bro, I have this theory that these entities are the jinns, because the jinns, it says that they are made from a smokeless fire, and
Mm.
they are not of this realm, of this dimension. And I don't know, bro. Like I said, this is just theoretical from my own experience. I'm not trying to say like, hey guys, this is what it is, but it's like it kind of throws me off and like really blows my mind when you start to think of it like that, where it's like, all right, well, this is the fourth dimension, and there is a fifth dimension. Anything that's in the fifth dimension, we can't see, but we can feel it from time to time. You ever walk into a place and you get like the goosebumps or something like that?
Yeah, I have a feeling like somebody's looking at me right now.
Yes, bro. That right there is you experiencing something that's on the fifth dimension, but you're not being able to see it. And when someone has an astral body, astral projection or out of body experience, they are in the fifth dimension. So they get to experience what's going on in the fifth dimension. Bro, it is crazy. It is crazy.
Have you been there in the
Yeah,
fifth
like I said,
dimension?
I've had
Yeah.
experiences, and it's
Is it like a DMT trip? Like when people see these sort of, I don't know how to explain, these creatures, and they all see the same creatures. Is that the same
it's
type of being, or?
it's it's close to it, except that when you do an astral projection or out of body experience, and again, let me just say, I do not recommend anyone does this because I don't think anywhere in Islam is it spoken about or practiced. And
Hmm.
it's like, bro, I've done this and I know how bad it is. I know what it makes you susceptible to. And like, bro, it left me for an entire year psychologically traumatized where
You did
I
it on
felt like
purpose or
I
by
did it on
accident?
purpose,
Oh,
bro. I
okay.
did it on purpose because I was on the new age wave, bro.
Ah, okay.
And man, like what you experience is ridiculous because once you've opened yourself up and you've gone into the astral realm once, you are now open to where, bro, the jinns, like they are 100% aware now that you are this open antenna, that you are fully aware of them and everything. So it's like if you don't know what you're doing, which I'm gonna be honest, 100% of the people that are astral projecting and doing these out of body experiences, they don't know what they're doing. Like you are 100 times, or not even 100 times, but you are 100% susceptible to jinns,
Hmm.
and that's scary, bro. That's scary.
Yeah, that sounds scary. We talked a lot about a lot of scary stuff, so hopefully nobody's scared out of their mind about the Judgment Day and and all these things. The jinns
Yeah.
coming after you.
But I mean, bro,
Cool.
if anyone's like really in it, and if anyone's like curious, they'll do their research, and they'll get past that initial little fear. Because
Yeah.
we're not here to scare anyone, bro.
No, no, no. It doesn't work. But it is the reality, and
Yeah,
sometimes it's hard. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
cool. So I think it's been over half an hour, so we can half an hour, 1 hour and a half. Sorry. So I think I don't know if you have any final message for people. I know you have a podcast, The Three Muslims. I know you have your YouTube channel. If somebody's
Yeah.
interested, what should they do? Do you hang out on Instagram or are you off the grid?
I tend to be off the grid, but like if you're really trying to reach me, then you could definitely reach me. You know, where there's a will, there's a way, right? But if anyone, give me one second, let me decline this. If anyone wants to see more of like what I do, besides Islam, is the self improvement, they can go to my channel. You can leave it wherever you want to leave it. If you want to look at the other stuff that I do with the three Muslims, you can leave it there if you want as well. They can check that out too. But the biggest advice that I want to give is if someone is not a Muslim, first just start with meditation first. Start with meditation first, because you have to start to grasp these things yourself. Because if not, then anything that anyone says, you're not going to be able to grasp. So start with meditation and then go from there. Just stay open to whatever is to come. And then for those who are Muslim, uh, just baby steps. And even if you've been Muslim your entire life, just continuous baby steps every single day, doing a little bit of something, because that little baby step that you do, and I'm not saying like, oh, you've been a Muslim your entire life, so you praying every single day is a baby step. No, no, no. You either doing charity, like you were saying, or you doing something that gives you that remembrance of Allah. Like that is the baby step. Because think about it, like when you have the remembrance of Allah, like you have the God consciousness, you are aware of the creator, and like your life is different. The way that you express yourself, the way that you live, the way that you experience everything is different when you do not have that consciousness, when you do not have the remembrance of Allah. You get stuck in certain behavioral and thought patterns. You start thinking to yourself, how much money is a stock making? Like how you were saying about the investors. Or you start thinking about mundane things like, oh, I'm trying to get with this girl over here. Oh, what clothes should I wear? What car should I have over here? Oh, I'm trying to get this job, man, but I really don't know if I'm going to get it. Like, I really want to be a professional fighter. I don't know if that's going to happen. Like, it's such a difficult task that I'm going on here. It's like, bro, all these things, if you do not have the remembrance of Allah, like you're going to stay stuck in this loop. And this loop
Yeah.
is the dunya.
Yeah. I mean, today Shaitan was coming after me hard, you know. I don't know why, but I watched a video of like a fitness YouTuber, and I don't watch porn, so it's like it kind of evoked something in me again. And I was like, man, maybe I can, just what's wrong with it? What's wrong with doing a little fab, right? Or something. But then you're like, man, stop that. I had to get dressed, leave the apartment, and just go for a walk or go to work or do something, and then it's gone. But man, if I would stay here, because of that remembrance, I didn't do it, because I know, like, it's
Allahu
not,
Akbar.
yeah. But
God is
dude, there's
greater.
so many in your daily life. There's so many ways where you can just feel this thing.
Yeah.
So,
And brother, like you having that remembrance of the creator allowed you to take a step back and have space between the thoughts that were going on in your head and like what the reality was. Because like if you wouldn't have that remembrance of Allah, if you wouldn't have had that God consciousness, you would have been listening to your thoughts, and your thoughts would have been like, oh bro, what's wrong
your
with going and
desires, yeah.
fapping? Bro, and you probably would have went and you would have fapped it, and you'd have been like, oh bro, what did
And
I just
then you
do? Like,
then you feel like the worst person, like,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, bro, shaitan, the way that shaitan affects us is through our thoughts, bro. Yes, certain things can happen and it can be a result of shaitan, but it's like it's through our thoughts that he gets to us, or the other, I think the jinns, the bad ones, that's how they get to us, is through our thoughts.
Well, it's
Think
not
about
your,
it, bro.
yeah, it's not your thoughts, actually. If you think about it, right? You get a thought, but I didn't create that thought. It came
Yeah,
to me,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
who's giving me these thoughts? I didn't ask for them. They are coming to me. Like, click on this, do this. Like, I'm not consciously thinking about these things. They are just coming to me. And then I have to catch myself like, man, wait, who's giving me this? Is this Shaitan? Is this guy? Is it
Yep.
Jibril? I don't know. It's all a
Yep.
mix. Yeah.
Yep. Bro, that's what I'm saying. And it ties back into this being the dunya and this being a
Yeah.
simulation. Bro, the other day I was on my phone and I was feeling good, bro. I was feeling really good. Very present, I should add. Very present of what I was thinking, what I was feeling, what was going on around me. And I remember my mom came to me and started like yelling about something. And I was like, yo, like, relax. What are you yelling about? And then she started popping off. And like, I felt this like rise of just anger and just negative thoughts beginning to come up. And I was like, interesting. So I stayed present, stayed aware of what was going on. Then I went on my phone, and then I had all these people like sending me hate mail, these ex-Muslims like leaving messages and all this stuff. And like I was just like looking at it, and then again I started feeling this rise and like this shift into the unconsciousness. And what I mean by this, there's this book by Napoleon Hill called Outwitting the Devil. I don't know if you've read it, but in this book he refers to this thing called drifting. And when you drift, it's basically when shaitan is in control, when something else is in control, when you are no longer present and something else is controlling you, you are drifting. And I felt myself getting to this state where I was about to start drifting. And as I'm responding back to this person, I don't know what I was typing, but my phone literally auto corrected what I was typing. And you know what that auto correction was?
Devil.
Yes. Bro, I'm telling you, when I saw that, I literally like put my phone back like this and just started looking around, bro. And like I had all these goosebumps just like rise in my body, and these waves were like rushing in my body. I'm like, damn, bro, like that's it, bro. That was like a glitch in the
Mm.
matrix. That was a glitch in the
Yeah.
dunya, bro.
But the atheist will look at that and says like, oh, it's just an emotion. It's nothing. It's not provable. But it's like, this is not an emotion. This is like the spiritual thing. Then you have your emotion. Then you have your mind. Then you have your thinking. Then you have your rationality. And then you have whatever else, right? It's multiple
Yeah,
levels to this, you know?
yeah, yeah. And bro, again, it all ties back.
Yeah.
Everything ties in together. And like, man, that remembrance of Allah, bro, the God consciousness, bro, changes everything. Because that day I was 100% present, but I was also very, very in that remembrance of Allah. You know, like I was literally like, I think so many times that day I had said Subhanallah and Alhamdulillah, because I was just
Mhm.
like so, bro, in tune with everything. And man, like you already know, you know what happens if you're not there, and you know what happens if you are there.
Yeah. Yeah. True. I guess that's why we have these 5 prayers, because it really helps, you know, because throughout your day it can go either way. So you always
Yep.
bring yourself back to that thing.
Yeah.
Especially if you go to the mosque tomorrow. You'll go to the mosque. You said you will, so you will
Oh yeah.
feel different vibe. Actually, like I had a sin last week, like I didn't behave correctly, and then I went to the mosque and I felt like a new person after I left, you know. So it's
Alhamdulillah.
it's good stuff.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah, man.
Yeah.
Oh man. There was one last thing that I wanted to say. What were you saying before that?
Shaitan is coming after me. I don't know.
Uh I don't know, man. I forgot. But
It's
overall, man, like it's been an amazing talk with you.
Yeah, we've been all over the place, but hey, that's good. And hopefully people will not, I know there's a lot of people who are not Muslims, so they will be like looking at us like, what are these people talking about? And then
Yeah, yeah.
there are the Muslims who will like pick every detail that we mentioned. So it's all good, but I just want to, I think there's a big difference between these two groups. There's a place for people who like you and me or somebody like that who, you know, are sharing this information and, you know, just like
Mm-hmm.
staying on top of the dean.
Mm-hmm. Yo,
Yeah.
and on a side note, one thing that I wanted to add in, because if there are Muslims watching, they'll probably say, and I should have mentioned this earlier when I was talking about like the different paths.
Hmm.
Like you got Islam, you got Christianity, you got Buddhism, you have Hinduism, and there's a whole bunch. Of course, there's a whole bunch. But they'll probably speak on Hinduism and they'll say, well, Hinduism is completely shook and it's worshiping all these gods. And it's like, well, actually, if you study the different religions and different philosophies, you will see that it's all been this telephone game. It's all been the creator trying to get the message across. You played the telephone game when you were a kid?
Maybe I did. I don't know. We don't call it
Remember,
that.
you would be around in a circle. One person would say something, and like it would go around. And then if what this person said at the end was the same thing you said, well, it's like okay, game over. You it was a success. But if
Okay.
the person messed up, then it was game over. Like you had to start over.
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you actually look at all these religions, all these philosophies, like it's all been a game of telephone from the beginning, where it's like God has been trying to transmit the message from day one. But the moment the message gets altered, more than likely by our egos, once it gets altered, it's game over. And then they move on. God moves on to the next person or the next group of people to receive the message. And you, bro, you know, if you were receiving the message, then it's very clear. But then once the message is cut off, you can tell that the message is cut off because then it starts just becoming nonsense. Right? And when you look at Islam, it even says it in I don't remember which verse, but it says it like today, like, I have perfected your religion.
Hmm.
I have completed your religion. It's like the message has been fully transmitted in Islam, which is so beautiful, man. But again, if you look at the other religions and the other philosophies, you will see, bro, little pieces of the puzzle where it's like, they were actually getting the message at some point in time, but there's a cutoff. And bro, in Hinduism specifically, they have yogis. The yogis are like the real like spiritual people. They're like the scholars. Okay. When you look at the yogis, bro, the yogis understand that there's only one God. Isn't that crazy? In Hinduism, you have all these different gods, but the yogis understand that there's only one God. And bro, when you start looking at the Vedas, the holy scriptures of the Hindus, it only says that there's only one God, bro. And the translation of give me 1 second. I'm gonna actually. All right, Bhagwan is poorly translated to God or gods, but it's actually what it means is just a state of being. So all these Hindu gods is only referring to these people as and they were people, by the way. They were people. The ones that are referred to as gods, they were just in this higher state of being that people were basically trying to achieve these higher states of being, but they were never God. You see what I'm saying? Like the translation has mixed it up. And then on top of the translation being mixed up, since there was no clear-cut instruction manual, kind of like how you have with the Quran, it wasn't clear-cut. So people started to misconstrue the message and say, okay, well, this person's God, this one's God, this God is here, this guy's over here. I'm going to choose to worship this God, and he's going to be my idol and all that stuff. That's where they started messing it up. But if you actually look at the true yogis, the real believers in Hinduism, they actually only worship one God, and that God is the same God that we have in Islam, the same God that you have in everything, because bro, la ilaha illallah, there is no God but God. And if you actually look into it more, there's this thing called the Abrahamic experience, and I can't fully say everything about it because I don't know it off the rip, but what I do know is that the idea of multiple gods could only come about from the idea of one God. So all these polytheistic religions that you see all stems from the belief in one God. So it all comes back to God, bro. That one God, bro. It's insane. And that's why I say, like, I don't know, I'm not the one to judge which path someone takes. That's for Allah to judge. But if you ask me, I'd say Islam. I'd say Islam is the way because it's the most clear-cut, logical way. And bro, I'm sure you'd say the same thing.
Yeah. I guess the atheists say like there's over 900 gods or something. I just disbelieve in one more than you. But it's like you're missing the point. There's no 900 gods. It's always just one. So, okay. But yeah, I guess everybody enjoyed this. We are not experts. I'm not here to debate Aanghel, or he's not debating me. We're not refuting. We're not doing Muhammad hijab stuff. None of this stuff. It's just kind of evolving.
He's got some great stuff, though. He's got some great stuff.
We're just kind of going with the flow, whatever it is, because I don't have the knowledge to do anything else. So if you didn't like it, then man, I'm sorry. Hopefully
it is what it is.
Yeah. Cool. So Aanghel, thank you so much for being here. And guys, go check out his YouTube channel. The Three Muslims podcast is a great podcast if you want to learn about Islam from the beginning, from the three Muslims who are young men ready to conquer the world. So yeah, go and check that out. And yeah, I'm sure we'll be in touch.
My brother, bro, I appreciate you having me on here. And I'm going to talk to the other brothers so we can get you on the Three Muslims as a guest.
Sure. No problem.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, bro. Let's do it.
See you later then.
My brother, take care of yourself.